First off, when you open TypeDesk on your computer, you'll arrive on the login screen. You can create your account. One question we get sometimes is, should I set up the Mac version or the Windows version or the browser extension, or can I use the web version? It's completely up to you. Just remember that the desktop versions for Mac and Windows are just slightly more powerful and they allow to do more things than with the browser extension or the web version. I'll create my account with email, password, and my first name. Whoops. All right, and we are in. First, TypeDesk is asking me to invite my coworkers because it works great if you have your whole team on board to share your responses. So feel free to do that right away if you plan to work with your coworkers on TypeDesk, and you can skip it if you don't plan on inviting anyone and if you want to work on your own. I'm gonna add Josh here, enter, and then finish. Okay, so I'm in. TypeDesk, the first time I start the app, is asking me a couple of things. There's an onboarding. Sometimes you will see the keyboard training show up here. I've done that before, so it's not asking me again. When it's the case, just follow the instructions to train your keyboard. TypeDesk needs to understand how your keyboard works, so it's important you take the time to do it. And once you're done, you'll be able to do things like that, /EML, and it's gonna fill in with your email everywhere you work. Could be your email client, could be Slack, could be your back office, wherever you need it, really. So this is just a confirmation that everything is set up properly. So feel free to try it out. I'm going to continue the onboarding. Take your time to have a look through the little videos and descriptions here. It's nice to get started. Okay, so that's TypeDesk. As you will see it when it's completely set up, I have a bunch of responses that are set up already for me. So I have a few sections here, the sidebar, which is where I'll find my folders, personal and team folders. Then I have all the responses that I have on my account, and then the live preview on the right side, which is where you will be able to edit and see your responses as they will show up in your emails, documents, etc., etc. First off, the question I usually get is, how can I share my responses with people? First of all, if you go into settings and users, you will see here that you have the list of users that are on your plan, and then you can add users very easily by adding a different email here, for instance. And that's how you basically add users to your plan. And then you can either share your own folders or team folders. The main difference between shared and team folders is your own folders, when you share them, you can decide if you want to give edit rights or not. So if I put Josh in this folder, I can decide whether I want Josh to be able to edit responses in that folder. In a team folder, when you add people in the team folder, they will always be able to edit the responses. It's a completely collaborative folder where everyone can make edits to the responses. And this is great, for instance, for tech support teams that need to have responses up to date for everyone. And it works great in many, many cases where you want to work together in responses. So usually when people get there, the first question is, so what can I do with that? If you look in the list, there's a bunch of little yellow tags like this one, like today, lorem, try me. And those, once set up on your computer, work everywhere. So if I take an email, for instance, and I type in those quick shortcuts there with a slash, with a / before them, so it's / try me, it's going to autofill my contents automatically. So this is just a very basic example of how you can use TypeDesk to boost your productivity. So I have a bunch here. I can try with lorem, for instance. Sometimes people ask, do I have to use the /? And the answer is yes, because this is ensuring that TypeDesk only records the keystrokes that you are actually needing for the quick shortcuts. It's privacy first, and so that's a great way to ensure your privacy at all times. So I have a few. I have today, for instance. Let me try it again. Today. Oops. And it's gonna auto insert the date. Okay, so list of responses, very basic example. Let me show you now how you can create a response. You can either use create a response or edit the current response there. So I'm asked for a name. That's a demo. Let's say it's going to be a location picker. Let's say I need to have an email where I can offer a pickup address depending on where you're located. So here's your pickup address. The thing I want to show is variables. You can see that I have a bunch of variables available on the sidebar. There are some really classic ones, like inserting your own first name. So hello, this is your first name, so that's going to be yours, from the team at TypeDesk. Okay. Now let's say you want to insert the recipient first name. In order to do that, we're going to use another variable called text. Essentially, what text does is create a small form that you can fill in at runtime in order to build your can response. And that's where the variables are coming in super handy. So I'm going to use text, and the question would be enter the first recipient's first name. We won't leave a default value, and I don't want to remember the last entered value. We could use there, for instance. If we don't want to enter the name, it's going to say hello there. Okay, let's try this one already. I haven't assigned a quick shortcut yet, so let me go through the sidebar just quickly. Variants are essentially a way to create a different version of the same response. So let's say this one, for instance, is the English version, and I want a response Spanish. The Spanish is completely different. So, hola es en español. Great Spanish there. I'm going to save this one. And then the last bit I want to show is the settings. That's where you'll be able to set up the quick response shortcut. The quick response shortcut is what we use with the / in order to quickly access our response. So I'll call this one location pick, for instance. You can add a private note and copy as plain text, but this is detail. So you can see now that the response is showing my quick shortcut, which is location pick. So if I use location pick here, TypeDesk is now asking me a few questions to fill in the can response. So the first one is asking me, do you want the English or the Spanish version? So I'm going to go for the English one. And then it's asking me to enter the recipient's first name. That's going to be Bob. And then, as you can see, it's creating those responses dynamically. So hello, Bob. This is Michelle, which is a variable from the team at TypeDesk. Here's your pickup address. Now, let's say we need to select one pickup address out of two different addresses that we have in our store. Let me go and edit that. For that, I'm going to use a select variable. So the select variable allows you to select one or more options to fill in your can response. So here I'm going to say select location, and then it's going to be New York, or you can allow multiple options if you want. In that case, there's only one address available at a time. So I'm going to insert that, save. And now if I use my response, so that's location, pick, English, Mike, and then New York, San Francisco, I can select San Francisco, and you can see that San Francisco is used in my can response. There are a few more variables that you can use. The gender conditional is used to say something different depending on whether this is a male or a female you're talking to. You can have a morning, afternoon conditional depending on the time of the day. You have your account variables, and then you have other date and time variables or random value. For instance, let's say in one case, thanks a lot. And another case, we appreciate doing business with you. So in that case, what's great is TypeDesk is gonna select randomly one or the other, or you can add a third option, which is great chatting. And it's gonna make your canned responses sound natural because they'll be different every time. So I'll save that. Location, big, English, and then New York. And this time it's selected, we appreciate doing business with you. One more time. Oops. English, Bob, New York. And you can see that this time it's using great chatting. So that's the essential that you need to know about TypeDesk. Obviously, I'm doing this in an email, but it works everywhere you do. So it could be Slack, it could be a website, it could be a chat bot, or any other basically text input that you are using on your computer. Last but not least, the menus. So you can, when you click on your name, have the main menu where you can access your account, manage your users. But most importantly, there's the Help Center, which has lots of resources to help you get started. The Get Started page, and the What's New if you need to know what's being updated in the versions lately. All right, I think that's a complete tour of TypeDesk. I hope you like it, and reach out to us and to our team if you have any questions.